All right, there's something really interesting happening with this bike, and I think it kind of proves Segway's technology prowess. What happens when a mobility and technology company decides to make a utility bike instead of a traditional bike brand? Well, apparently a bike like this. This is the Segway MUXI. And so far at least, I'm really getting the high-tech vibes from this bike. Like, check this out. If I move the bike, well, first of all, it won't move. So it won't move because of the rear wheel lock, and then it just screams at me. I mean, even the lights go off on this thing. Abnormal movement detected. Clearly. But then if I grab my phone, turn Bluetooth on, and then walk towards it, airlock ready, and there we go. The bike just automatically turned on because it's connected to my phone. And trust me, that's just a start. Like, the control pad looks like a game controller. It has hill descent control, traction control, regenerative braking. We have radar that we're going to be able to test out. There we go. Car coming. It let me know. And so in this review, I'll tell you everything you need to know. I'll tell you what every button does on the control pad. We'll walk through their display and just see the sheer amount of options within. And while technology is cool and all, it's still an e-bike after all, so we'll take it to the road, we'll see how the bike performs, and finally, I'll wrap things up with the pros and cons. But before that, let's take a closer look. So Segway, not a new brand. In fact, not a new brand to mobility, though they are new to electric bikes. They also have the Mayan, which we reviewed. That's a more traditional looking bike frame, step-thru if you will. But this is the MUXI, their utility e-bike. And Segway has taken an interesting approach, something that I wouldn't have expected. They're going with the dealership model, which means that you can check out their electric bikes if you happen to live near a dealer. In fact, they want so much control over your experience that even if you buy online, which if you do, I appreciate it if you use our link down in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. But if you do buy online, they're still going to send it to a dealership that's going to make sure it's set up for you. And somehow, even though they're going the dealership route, I think the prices are pretty reasonable. Like, current pricing on the MUXI is just $16.99. It comes in this Dusty Sage or Olive Rush. The MUXI will fit riders, according to the company, all the way down to 4'8", up to 6 feet tall. I'm 6 feet tall with the 32-inch inseam. I am very close to having a full leg extension. My wife is 5'5". The bike weighs in at 72 pounds, has a max rider weight of 265, and that rear rack can hold 121 pounds. The frame is IPX5 rated. Let's dive into the rest of the components. You get hydraulic disc brakes paired with 180mm rotors front and behind this skirt guard in the rear as well. Tires are 20 by 3 inches wide, street tread. I love the brown sidewall. Fenders are optional, full coverage in the rear. And check this out, no spokes. These are mag wheels, which means they'll never go out of alignment. They'll never need to be trued. A nice touch is this angled Schrader valve, so it's just a little bit easier to pump up your tires. Front wheel attaches with a through axle. The front light runs off the main battery. Rear lights as well. They go brighter when you hit the brakes, and we have the radar back here as well, so we'll see how it works. We have their optional front rack. Max capacity is 33 pounds. Cables run into the frame right here. It's a fixed stem, but it does bring the handlebars up closer to you. And then you have quite a large swoop to these handlebars. They come back towards you, and of course you can rotate them to your liking. There's brown locking ergonomic grips, matching hydraulic disc brake levers with motor cutoffs. On the right is a bell. And you get a right-hand thumb throttle and no gears because this is a single speed. It's meant to be simple. All right, moving on to the controls and displays. Super interesting here. So power button is going to be on the top here. And so there's a few options. You can put in your passcode if you want. Second option, I have Bluetooth turned on my phone now. It says airlock is ready. So if I just hit the top power button, it will unlock the bike because it knows my phone is close. So now the bike is turned on. To turn the lights on and off, you can hit the power button. Holding it will turn the bike back off. This button is your built-in horn. The side light on the controls is for the radar to notify you if you have a car coming up behind you. Then of course the plus and minus buttons, that is going to be your pedal assist. And then you have your joystick, which moves in all directions and you can push it. For the display, we have current time, whether I have a Bluetooth connection with my phone. TCS stands for the traction control. We have current speed, battery percentage. Below that, we have the bar for assist level. It goes low to mid, all the way up to high. Now I'm going to use the joystick to move right. Here we have a bunch of stats: average speed, trip, mileage, calories, and cadence. Pushing the joystick will give me additional information: trip time, daily trip, CO2 reduced, and the current slope. And then back to the base screen, we'll go right once more. You can start navigation. And note on all these screens, you still have the current battery capacity as well as what pedal assist level you're in. So if I change that, you'll see it reflected on the screen. The next screen is pretty cool because if you're listening to music from your phones, maybe you're using a smart helmet, you can actually control the volume, skip song, and pause. And so right now I have actually one of my YouTube videos up, and if I hit the joystick once, it'll pause it. The two dots here on the forward indicator mean press it twice to go forward a track, or press it 3 times to go back to your previous song. And then when you're actually playing something, you can use the joystick up and down to control the volume level. Then on the last screen, we have warning, speed modes, 1, 2, and 3, and hybrid. I'll explain that in the first person riding footage. Screen brightness, can turn that all the way up if I want to. Horn sound, can sound like a train apparently, or a more friendly bell. Let's go with the train. There's volume for the speaker. You can turn it all the way up or set it to adapted. And then there's quiet mode. That's it for the display, but let's jump into the app. Now, admittedly, there are a lot of settings within this app, so I'm going to focus on some things that I think are important. This is the main screen. You can adjust the pedal assist settings. There's settings for airlock. I'm going to calibrate it. Maybe airlock will work easier now. I mean, the amount of things in here is crazy. Sensitivity settings. There's, of course, the navigation, which I'll test out. Apparently, my battery wasn't bound, so let's do that. There's trip stats, user management. You can add your family to your account in case you share this e-bike. If I go to more functions, there's just a ton of settings that you can change in here. You can auto engage P mode or park mode, enable the kinetic energy recovery, kind of regenerative braking, turn off the traction control, hill descent control. And if I tap on my bike here, I have all of my information about the firmware of the controller and the battery and even the radar. And if I go into mine and tap on 10 unread messages, you can see that there's the abnormality alerts when I was moving the bike around while it was locked. So yeah, definitely something you want to check out. Make sure your Segway e-bike is up to date. But generally, if you look at these main screen settings and look at more functions, that's going to be most of the things that people want to adjust. And that's it for the controls, display, and Segway's app. And then you have the battery, which is a very interesting design, though I like that it kind of puts all the weight towards the bottom, so it has a lower center of gravity. So the keyhole is right here. I'll turn to the left to unlock it, and the battery just moves automatically, which is kind of cool. And there's arrows, so you can match up how the battery goes in. And then you have a nice grab handle. It's a 48-volt battery, 717 watt hours. The battery itself is certified to UL 2271. The entire bike's electronics are certified to UL 2849. And yeah, to charge it up, it's the same port, whether it's in the bike or out, right there. Spring-loaded cover. And then you charge it up with this 3.9 amp output charger. Segway also gives you a multi-tool and even a pedal wrench, though my pedals were already installed. Also an Allen key as well as some instruction manuals. So there's what it looks like without the battery in. So to put it back in, arrow pointing towards the back of the bike. Looks like the speaker is right here. That's because I turned my Bluetooth off, and we'll simply slide the battery into place. and you can remove the keys. There's a drink holder fitting the brown theme. You get a brown saddle. Feels pretty comfortable. We'll see how it feels on the road. There's my serial number, but it also has Apple Find My. There's plastic pedals, a rear-mounted kickstand. We do have the optional passenger kit installed. That's going to be the seat pad as well as the wheel guards and those pegs. The rear rack does come included. In the rear is a 750 watt motor, again with those mag wheels. And that's also how the bike is able to lock. Single speed drivetrain, 13 teeth in the rear. We also have a chain tensioner. Up front is 48 teeth. All right, with this being my first Segway review, I can't wait to see what they've done. Let's get into some first person riding footage. We'll see how the pedal assist feels. And of course, we'll take it up our large hill climb test. Let's see what this bike can do on throttle alone. I have the assist level maxed out because I think that might coincide with throttle motor output, though we'll see. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, throttle only. All right, a decent takeoff there. And there's 20 miles an hour. Now, let's go do that again. I have to say, I think this might be a direct drive motor. It's extremely quiet, like I can't even hear it. And so I guess we'll see what that means for our hill climb test, but initial impressions on that throttle only, it has a decent amount of torque. So now I'm going to turn the assist level all the way down. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, throttle only. Okay, feels like a more gentle takeoff. There's 20. So we'll compare the two. It does feel like you get a little bit more torque in the higher assist level. All right, so as you saw in the walk around, the assist level kind of goes from low to high. We're going to call out numbers for those just so you can kind of understand where I'm at with the pedal assist. So I will go into pedal assist level 1. We're going to start and see how it feels with the single speed drivetrain. All right, doesn't take much of a rotation. Granted, you're on a single speed for the motor to engage. Oh, and that was handy. My radar just picked up that these folks were passing us, 2 kids in tow, and there's that light indicator on the controls as well. All right, so in pedal assist level 1, we'll call it, or low, just gently spinning my legs. I did see it mentioned a cadence sensor, but I'm going to tell you how it feels. And granted, this is a pretty slow cadence, and I'm going 10 miles an hour. It's just a little bit of motor power, which I actually appreciate, but definitely some resistance. And if I pedal faster, I'm not feeling any more motor support. We are going 12, but that's because my legs are working harder. All right, let's go into pedal assist level 2. And I did start this with 100% battery. So we'll see what the total distance is and what battery I'm at the end. So in pedal assist level 2, there probably is more power, but I can't really feel it. So still nice and easy. Just spinning my legs. Let's see if I can slow down my cadence significantly. So yeah, if I slow my cadence, going about 9 miles an hour. All right, let's go into pedal assist level 3. All right, definitely creeping up in speed there. 13 miles an hour, 14. But on a bike like this, being a single speed, it's really nice to actually just use the throttle to get started. So pedal assist level 3, 13 miles an hour. So not a huge difference between those first 3 levels. And I do have this in hybrid mode, which I'll explain in a second. Here's pedal assist level 4, if you will. All right, creeping up a little bit more, 15, 16. So the power delivery, it doesn't jerk you, although I just felt a little additional power around 16 or 17 miles an hour, and now able to cruise at 17, nice and easy. This is a very nice cadence, I will say. All right, pedal assist level 5. Okay, definitely could feel the motor there. Nothing like hugely substantial for motor power, but cruising at 18, 19 miles an hour. There's 20. Cadence still feels pretty good. It is a single speed after all. All right, let's stop here and I'll talk about hybrid. So class 1, 20 miles per hour, top speed with pedal assist only. Class 2, 20 miles per hour, though it adds the throttle up to 20. Class 3, a true Class 3 e-bike, top speed of what I think they're using, 23 miles per hour, given it's a single speed, but no throttle. And then hybrid still gets you the throttle up to 20, and then we'll see what the top speed is kind of as a quasi Class 2 and 3 e-bike. All right, let's go into pedal assist level 6, or the highest level of pedal assist. All right, my legs are spinning faster. I mean, I can still provide leg power. I mean, that's what a company has to do. They have to pick a gear ratio. And I think they did a decent job here. There's 24 according to the GPS. These Tektro hydraulic disc brakes perform just fine. All right, start from a stop and pedal assist level 6. Yeah, very responsive. Definitely feel like I'm getting more power. All right, I'm going to gently spin my legs. So just barely providing any pedal pressure in pedal assist level 6, and I'm going 16 miles an hour. So there definitely is some modulation here. I don't know if it's the speed of your cadence, how fast you're spinning, or whether it's actually measuring how hard you're pedaling. Because if I just increase my cadence a little bit here, which it's not hard to do, and there's 22 miles an hour. You can see my cadence here. All right, my legs are really working. I think 24 miles an hour is going to be the max. So I think they are having the motor cut out. I'm going to turn the volume up to see if you guys can hear it with the radar. And we'll turn the screen brightness up. Oh yeah, plenty loud now. We'll wait for some cars to come behind us. Let's talk a little bit about Regen. Now, don't think that Regen is going to put a ton of energy back into your battery, but if it's a feature they can add, why not? I would guess between like 2 and 5% range extension maybe. And I'm curious what that kinetic energy recapture kind of feels like on the downhill of our hill climb. But on the display right next to the battery meter, it kind of changes to a little circle with an arrow, and that's how you know Regen is on. I'm going to see what happens if I try to just use Regen at this small tree. I'll start hitting the brakes and try not to engage the actual pads. Okay. I mean, you can feel it. And again, I was just barely pulling on the brake lever until it shows there. There we go, slowing down. Let's see if it radar, there we go. Car coming, it let me know. It's actually pretty handy to have. So I live in an area that's, in my opinion, pretty darn safe to ride. Here's another vehicle, there it is. I mean, to be honest, I would actually love it if it actually happened sooner. This is a road where there's not a lot of infrastructure on our way to the hill climb test. And it's actually really nice to have the radar. Now, of course, on every e-bike that we're riding regularly, we're always going to have mirrors, so that helps too. But I imagine the radar can kind of be your first, indication, and then you can kind of make sure that that vehicle isn't going to pass too close to you. So, hey, safety feature, I like it. This one more prioritizes being an audible notification as opposed to something on your display. All right, there's something really interesting happening with this bike. And I think it kind of proves Segway's technology prowess, if you will. So I'm going to start going down this hill, and I'm going to tell you when it starts the kinetic recapture. There we go. So because this has a gyroscope, and man, I can feel this slowing me down. I mean, on some bikes, I go down here at like 30 miles an hour. Wow, okay, we might have to turn it off. So what, we're going 22 miles an hour, 23? And the motor is doing all the slowing down here. Okay, we got up to 25, 26 towards the end. Okay, super cool. So, because there's a gyroscope, this bike knows the slope of that hill, or any hill, and knows that hey, when I'm going on flat ground, I don't want the energy recapture, but yes, definitely when I'm going down a hill. Super cool. So if this is indeed a direct drive motor, sometimes you don't get as much torque. So we'll see. Here we go, throttle only. This hill looks so much smaller on the GoPro, so we'll put up the specs. And actually, when I'm pedaling, I'll look at the slope too. So there's 17, 16, still very impressive, 15. And man, it's so quiet, I can't even hear it. 14. So yeah, minimum speed 14 miles per hour. Now, yes, I am a lighter weight rider, but I've ridden a ton of e-bikes up that hill, and that is still very impressive. So I opened the app, turned Kinetic energy recovery off, but we also need to turn off hill descent control. Bike responds, so you know that it took effect. All right, now let's go down the hill. So you kind of saw that before I was going 22 miles an hour or so for a majority and then went faster at the bottom, but I'm going to probably need to use the brakes. So here we go. I mean, I was going much slower. I'm now 28, 29. Okay, I'm hitting the brakes. So that actually shows just how much resistance that motor is able to provide and put energy back into the battery. So I think that's pretty cool. Of course, it's not meant to replace your brakes, but it's nice. Saves some energy and also, you know, makes you ride at a more comfortable speed that I think many will appreciate down a hill. All right, let's go up while pedaling. All right, I have slope up. Now remember, this is a single speed. We're gonna go pedal assist level 1. It's gonna be a slow cadence. All right, so right now it says the slope is 6%. And the hill really hasn't even started. All right, 8%, 9. All right, I'm going to have to go up in higher pedal assist level. There we go, there's 2. Some relief there, maybe, I don't know. Pedal assist level 3. Okay. I mean, I could do this, but like it's such a slow cadence. Let's go up again. Okay. So this is doable. Like my legs are spinning a little bit faster. I'm going 8 miles an hour. So clearly it's not that hard to get more motor power. Slope is saying like 17%. All right. And that's pretty darn good. 9 miles an hour. Let's go up again into 5th. All right. And we're creeping up in speed, 12 miles an hour. Cadence getting faster. And there's pedal assist level 6. All right. So easy to get motor power, full motor power to climb hills. Of course, you can always use the throttle if you prefer. I also had pedal assist sensitivity to high, so if you want it to be less sensitive, you can turn it to standard. And I have adaptive power turned on. When enabled, it reduces effort required when riding uphill. That's probably why it was easier. Let's talk briefly about ergonomics, comfort, geometry. What I love about these 20-inch bikes is they're just more approachable for, say, shorter riders or people who are unsure of themselves. Just because they're less of a footprint, they're shorter wheelbase. Generally, it means they're easy to stand over, like this one. Now, I wouldn't call this bike lightweight, but it is more approachable with the 20-inch wheels. Geometry-wise, I mean, I am almost getting full leg extension. I think shorter riders are going to feel even more comfortable on a bike like this. Now, I will say, fixed stem, I would probably bring the handlebars just a little bit closer to me, but I'm still in a pretty comfortable riding position, more maybe of a middle ground compared to more forward leaning than to being completely upright. But I think if you're on the shorter end, you can kind of twist the handlebars more towards you. I think it's more optimized for shorter riders. Seat is actually pretty comfortable. Trust me, I don't think that often. All right, I'm going to start from this hill, just use a little bit of throttle and start pedaling. I actually kind of dig the controls. They're pretty intuitive. It takes some getting used to if you're used to normal e-bike controls. Don't forget you have that horn button. You hear me coming. I almost forgot, we have to talk about hill start assist and navigation. In fact, in order to enable hill start assist, I had to go into the Segway lab. This is like their experimental things that they're doing to this bike, which is kind of cool. Never seen a company do this. So I turned it on. Let me go up the hill a little bit so we get a bit of a slope here. All right, it says 10% here. So now I just have to hold both brakes for 3 seconds. There's a big H here. Hill hold assist enabled. So I guess it's more of a hill hold as opposed to a hill start assist. So now if I let go of the brakes, I mean, I could force the bike backwards. Actually not. It's completely locked. So it's kind of enabling that rear wheel lock. And so I'm not on the brakes at all, not rolling backwards. And so that's kind of a handy feature. Now, if I wanted to get going, I imagine I'll just use the throttle here. And there we go. We can do it one more time. Let's see if I can pedal out of this. All right, H. Yeah, I mean, you can, but given it's a single speed, it's just easier to use the throttle. Let's test out navigation. I'll put in one of my kids' favorite spots, the Bentonville Library. There we go. Display navigation on dashboard, yes. Time to destination, as well as 1.9 miles. All right, so we get audible notifications on my phone, kind of like a Google Maps situation. And then we actually have turn-by-turn directions on the display, how many feet to my next turn, as well as the direction I need to turn. And it's cool, it still shows your current speed. All right, so I'm following the green arrow here. It seems it is beeping, so I wonder if that's kind of reminding me of turns. I'm not sure. Next turn coming up in 150 feet. Still showing 43 feet here for my left turn. Although the map is very accurate. So after every turn, it seems like it's beeping at me. Turning right. There we go. So anytime the screen updates, I guess it makes that sound to let me know to check the screen for when my next turn is. So now I have to go 1.4 miles and then I'll take a left-hand turn. So navigation there if you want it. It's actually handy to have which turn is next on your screen, though of course you can use the phone as well. With that, let's get into some third-person riding footage. I'll give you the pros and cons of the Segway MUXI. After reviewing e-bikes for 6 years, it takes a good deal of technology packed into an e-bike to surprise me, but Segway did just that. Is it perfect? No, but no e-bike really is. First, let me talk about what I like. Starting with the price. At $16.99, though accessories will add to that, it's approachable, especially for a company going the dealership network route rather than selling direct to consumer. Factor in the feature set and I genuinely think this is a great package. And by the way, if we've helped you with your purchase decision, the link is in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen. You can still buy online and pick up in store. Thank you so much for your support. Setting the tech aside for a moment because after all, it is an e-bike, the MUXI impressed. This 750 watt direct drive motor has to be one of the most powerful while simultaneously one of the quietest direct drive motors I've tested. And it somehow delivers a lot of torque both on flat ground and in our hill climb test. That's paired with a 15 amp hour battery, which is what we'd expect at this price point. During my 11-mile test ride, I still had 68% battery life left, which is pretty good considering we included our hill climb test and really pushed the motor. The battery's location also helps keep the weight low and sets the tone for this utility e-bike's overall vibe, and it's easily accessible. Pedaling the MUXI, keeping in mind it's a single speed, which is great for simplicity, felt great in that 20-ish mile per hour range. I was still a fan of the pedaling experience, even though it's advertised as using a cadence sensor. There's definitely some modulation going on with the bike reacting to how you're pedaling. The frame fits Segway's MO of more of a futuristic ride, and while it adds weight, the Mag wheels give you one less thing to worry about. The MUXI is certainly optimized for shorter riders. At 6 feet tall, I still had plenty of fun on it, though my wife felt even more at home. The seat is comfortable and the handlebars put you in a nice riding position, though the fixed stem means less adjustability. The brakes felt great, no surprise there. Now onto the technology, and Segway really seems to have pushed the limits here. There's a lot going on, so I'll call out my favorites. Airlock worked great for unlocking the bike, easier than punching in a passcode or carrying a separate NFC key. The locking rear wheel and built-in alarm, which is actually loud, give you peace of mind, and you can also track the bike's location if it's ever out of sight. The Kinetic energy recovery surprised me with just how much it helped to actually slow you down even on hills. The radar worked flawlessly in our testing, though I do wish it alerted slightly earlier. More of a "the car is about to pass you" notification, but having it make a sound works really well. One of the most unique things about the MUXI is also maybe where I'd like to see some change. While I found the controls and display pretty intuitive after just a few minutes, the app feels like an overwhelming monster of settings. I'd like to see it better organized so users can navigate it more easily. Next, this is a utility e-bike, and while the rear rack capacity is decently high at 120 pounds, the rear passenger kit leaves a bit to be desired since there's no intuitive space to grab onto. I'd view this accessory as better for a short trip around the neighborhood than something I'd feel comfortable hauling my kids on for longer distances. The front rack is a nice option, though I'd like to see more rear rack accessories to help it live up to its utility / cargo e-bike design. Also worth noting, fenders aren't included. Comfort-wise, it's a rigid front fork, so keep that in mind, or consider adding a suspension seat post for some extra comfort. The single-leg kickstand works, but a double-legged kickstand would be nice to see on this utility e-bike for more confident loading. Usually, brands start with an e-bike and add tech over time. Segway flipped that script, launching with a tech-forward e-bike that's surprising in a lot of ways. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.